Other interesting political news, United Auto Workers contract to cost Ford Motor Company $8.8 billion, an additional $900 per vehicle for the consumer. Now, this comes to us thanks to a website over at the Detroit Free Press. This is specifically by Phoebe Wall Howard, and it looks like the cost this is a quote from Ford. The cost effect is anticipated to be about $900 per vehicle by 2028, unquote, and we will work to offset the cost through higher productivity and lower expenses, unquote. So hopefully they outsource a lot because, again, there's only so many things you can control in terms of expenses in the United States. There's a lot of variables that are unfortunately controlled by a myriad of regulations. Unfortunately, there's so many regulations that can actually probably exceed a dictionary in terms of the length if you were to put them on paper. Now, they also noted that they have withdrawn its 2023 guidance plan in late October due to the UAW strike and all the uncertainties. Ford said it anticipates a full year 2023 adjusted earnings before interest and taxes EBIT of $10 billion to $10.5 billion. That would include the $1.7 billion in strike-related lost profits, $1.6 billion of that from the fourth quarter, owing to the interruption of production of high-margin trucks and SUVs, and in turn, vehicle wholesales about 100,000 units lower than expected. Ford generated $4.9 billion in net income and $9.4 billion in adjusted EBITDA before the first 3 quarters of the year, prior to the full effects of the work stoppage, unquote. This coming to a spokesperson at Ford. They also know that the full 2023 adjusted free cash flow is expected to be between $5 billion and $5.5 billion. Now, they continue to say, quote, this industry is going to go through the biggest technological-led transformation we've ever seen in some new companies, new and old, and some are going to be left behind, unquote. Ford Plus is on the right strategy to win. We've got a highly talented team that allocates capital with great discipline, so we're executing with consistency, generating strong growth and profitability, and are less cyclical, unquote. Ford CEO Jim Farley had said previously that the company committed to electric vehicles but is pushing hard to provide hybrid vehicles to consumers as well, which makes sense. That's where they should be going. That's where Toyota big. A lot of people are giving Toyota crap, which again, you're giving you could debate they are the greatest automobile company on the planet in terms of reliability, return on investment, and it's one of those instances. And again, a vehicle is not. It's not. I don't say it's an investment unless you're buying like a one-off Lamborghini or Bugatti or something like that, because vehicles on average never go up in value. It's not an investment. A better phrase would be me trying to say mitigating your risk or making it so you don't lose so much money on a vehicle so they hold their value and you're not putting money into repairs. Again, a good old internal combustion engine from Toyota will last about a quarter century and 1,000,000 miles. They're darn near bulletproof. And I mean, there have been whole YouTube compilations of a myriad of people doing durability tests, and you just can't break those darn things. It's almost comical, they're so durable. And Toyota invests heavily into hybrid technologies, specifically the hybrid battery technologies as well. And a lot of people are saying, oh yeah, the future's all EV. Now the government, don't get me wrong, the government is bullying all these companies with a myriad of methodologies to try to get rid of the internal combustion engine. And that's why one of the main reasons they're pushing the technology so hard. But consumers, the adoption rate is decreasing pretty quick. Now the sales are increasing in terms of EV, sales, but the adoption rate is decreasing, and there's more and more consumers are starting to be more favorable to hybrid vehicle systems. Now, granted, those people don't realize that the batteries are going to die in a couple of years because, again, giant lithium battery is slowly becoming more of a smartphone, which is a disposable piece of junk. Also known as something that you're also locked in. You don't have a right to work on it because it's basically just own the hardware, not the software. There are many reasons why I personally will always prefer a stick shift vehicle with an internal combustion engine, also known as a manual transmission, the best way to actually enjoy the driving experience, bar none. Can't recommend it enough. Now, back to the article, they also noted that their costs are going to be going up more and more. Now, the specific UAW contract includes raising the top wage by more than 30%, which is funny. People say, I can't fathom. There are some people who say unions aren't greedy. Well, I guess Ford agreed to it, so it's agreeable. But do you know anyone who's got a 30% raise in your career? So the UAW did they got pretty good, and this is also in the politics part of the podcast because the UAW hilariously and ironically contributes heavily to politicians who cause the very problems that they whine and complain about. A lot of the unions they're really upset about hyperinflation. Well, you voted for people who actually cause hyperinflation. They're angry that they're making less money because the vehicles are becoming EVs and hybrids, which are less profitable, and they're not getting as many bonuses. They're not making as much money. Well, guess what? Guess what government is doing? They're banning the most profitable products you make. They're banning the internal combustion engine with de facto tailpipe emission standards, increasing those exponentially to just be ridiculously high. The only way you can meet a fleet average is by having an EV division and having more and more EV sales. You voted for that. And the UAW contributes millions of dollars to political figures to get them elected. So that's why I think of them more as a political organization, which is why someone as morally vacuous as Bernie Sanders is with the UAW helping them with all these strikes, which also shows their, I'd say, lack of work effort if you have Bernie Sanders supporting you. Really? But I partially digress. Again, they're getting a 30% increase in wages. And they also increased the starting wage by 68% to $28 per hour. Also reinstating major benefits that they lost during the Great Recession, which, again, they partially... Ford did not go bankrupt, but GM and Chrysler went bankrupt in 2009, in part because of the huge cost of the UAW. So it looks like they got their cost of living adjustments back as well. So they got a lot. Let's see. So it'll be interesting to see. Again, Ford has got this. That's a big dent. So imagine paying $900. They already raised their MSRP over the past 5 years. Ford has raised the MSRP by like 42%. And everyone knows right now you're usually paying a little bit more than MSRP for most vehicles, not all. And the vehicles are decreasing in quality, but the price is going up. So this Ford vehicle, thanks to the union, is $900 more. So what would you do? Would you buy a vehicle that's manufactured by the UAW that is more expensive and statistically less reliable than the competition? Or would you buy something like a Toyota or a Honda that, again, will last darn near a quarter of a century and 1 million miles? I would say it'll be interesting to see how Jim Farley and how Ford goes from here, but this is a big kneecap for the company. They're on crutches. Because again, this is a huge cost of labor increase, and they have to deal with the dealerships. Word pun moderately intended. Those are two things that are preventing Ford from ever overtaking companies like Tesla. Tesla has a lower cost of labor, partially because they also give them stock options, so they're invested to actually work hard and actually do their job. And they also have vehicles for the EV category. They're the leader. My 3 cents, I don't like EVs because I want something to last, a long time. And EVs on average are disposable, just based on the very nature of the lithium-ion battery technologies and then basically being a computer. Again, we might very well have a new graphene, fancy banana Y Falcon material for the batteries tomorrow that makes them last 25 years. Let's just say I'm skeptical to say the least, but yes, technology does move quickly. That could happen. As of the time of this recording, no, I would still never buy one. That's just my 3 cents. It used to be 2 cents. For your hyperinflation, got charged 3 cents. But it's still free to click the subscribe button. And it'll be interesting to see how does Ford overcome the competition and what goes from here. And let me know, would you ever buy a Ford vehicle with the current prices, with the current quality? It'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Thank you again, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. We're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of December. So if you click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, if you can leave a comment, I would greatly appreciate it, as well as I always want to get more feedback and how we can make the show better and better and better. Also, don't forget, you can also leave a thumbs up. That helps with the algorithm and might get it shared to more people, which is also greatly appreciated. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.